What's going on, guys? Welcome back. Droid Life Show, episode 155 today. It is Friday, October 20th. I'm your host, Kellen, with me, Tim. Tim, say hi.
Hey, Internet. How's it going? Tim here.
So on the show, we're talking Pixel 2 and Pixel 2 XL. Tim and I had just dropped the review like an hour ago. I mean, it just came out. So the full written review is up. It's pretty lengthy. We dive into a whole bunch of stuff. Tim hammered out almost the whole thing. I just kind of jumped in with some Pixel 2 XL stuff, but it's worth a read, especially if you are interested in either of these phones. If you are skeptical about anything, have some questions about anything, we kind of touch on, I would say, just about all of it. I mean, it's a pretty lengthy review for us. So
I hope we touched
that is
on it.
there.
Oh,
So
geez. if we missed
and,
something, feel free to let us know.
yeah. So we want to talk about that. There's some other stuff just in general with Pixel 2, like display drama that's going on out there. We want to talk about the cameras because Tim did a big old camera shootout. Just talk about smartphone cameras in general because they're all getting pretty damn good. Some other stuff there, but like our LG V30 review, I know it's not out yet. It will be. We just had to pause while Pixel 2s came. Sorry, LG V30 fans. HTC has a event coming up. The essential phone's $100 off. We got Bixby 2.0. Huawei's Mate 10 is official. There's actually quite a bit of stuff going on. So, but let's dive into Pixel 2 2XL. This is the stuff that everyone's obviously super excited about at the moment. So, let's see. We've had these for over a week now. Pixel 2, Pixel 2 XL. We have the just black versions. So no, we don't have the penguin. And by the way, the white and black version, we're switching. This is not a panda. It is a penguin. And it's a penguin because it has an orange power button. That is the penguin beak, essentially. You guys get it? Or penguin spot. Well, penguins have a little spot. Anyway, we're calling it penguin from now on. I just want to make that clear to everyone. So the penguin one is not, we don't have that. And I don't believe that's shipping to anyone. So anyways, we have just black. And I mean, where do you want to start? Like, I think we both are really impressed. I think these are the phones that I think a lot of people will really, really like. I think they're Google's obviously their best phones, and they should be. They're their newest, but like they feel like we talked a little bit about this thing on a previous show. Like they feel like Google's first well-rounded phones, where like the design is somewhat unique. The software matches up perfectly. They kind of have their own unique identity. Finally, I don't know. Where do you want to start?
Well, I guess we could start with the pros. And the pros is that, in our opinion, at least, the hardware is nice. It feels good in hand. Both phones are nice. Cameras, ridiculous. Very good, very accurate, and true to life. Like, true to my eye. Ron Afringa, our good friend Ron, he said, well, everyone's talking about these smartphone cameras, but they don't ask the most important question, which is, are they, which one is the most accurate to life? And I would have to say that the Pixel 2 does an amazing job at really portraying, what your eye sees on the display. And the software, it blows away everything. It's Google's custom tweaks on top of Android 8.0 Oreo, and everything is just so smooth and polished. And like, I feel like I have to say this every year, but Oreo, it finally feels like Android is like a real OS. And I know that Pixel's tweaks help with that because this isn't just standard AOSP stock Android, but this just feels like the most kind of feature rich, really kind of helpful build of Android. So that really has helped. Gosh, what else is there to say? I mean, the dual front speakers are great. I mean, just speaking about the Pixel 2, the one that I specifically reviewed, the bezels are freaking huge, but it does have dual speakers. And I found after time, I game a lot, and the game I play is always in landscape mode. So it's actually nice to have somewhere to kind of hold the phone instead of just having to do like the whole kind of holding with the index and pinky. I like the squeezy sides, which I used to think was like a total stupid gimmick, and I apologized on Twitter for calling it a gimmick because I actually like it. It's been really cold here in Portland, and I've been wearing gloves. And when I can just hit up Assistant to turn on the flashlight at night when I'm picking up dog poo with gloves on. You know, I can just tell her to do that, and it's been nice. Yeah, I mean, it is missing a few things, and we touched on that in the review. It's missing expandable storage. It's missing wireless charging. Missing a headphone jack. All of that stuff I don't necessarily care about. I've kind of grown past it. Now, I will say, like the headphone jack, I'll probably never move past that because they still haven't really given us a solution. And I don't see Bluetooth, like the wireless solution, as a real solution, because anyone who has a really nice pair of headphones that are wired or anything like that, I mean, they get screwed. Yes, they can use a dongle, but come on, we're talking about a dongle. Like, that just shouldn't be the way life is.
You can't charge and listen to music at the same time, Tim.
They've got those dual USB Type-C port adapters and stuff. Like, there are workarounds for the BS problem that they created, right? So we're just the consumers.
Which has kind of always been the problem with this thing, right? Is like they took a thing away and they didn't give us a real reason why they took it away or why it's better or what to replace it with, other than wireless headphones are the future. And it's like, some of us don't really want to deal with wireless headphones. You have to charge them. You have to do all this crap to them, right? To make sure they're connected and they have a battery and they last long enough, and then recharge all this crap, right?
Yeah.
What if we just want to plug in some headphones? I know the dongle, and I've already defended the fact that I don't really care about but like, I get it. Like, they still haven't given us a damn reason. So
no, they haven't. You know, when I see people in the chat talking about this certain YouTuber who bends phones in half and how that's like a real problem that the phone might have, no, like, come on, people. I've had the phone for a solid week now. Got it last Friday, I think. And no, it hasn't bent or anything. The screen hasn't scratched. The metal on the back, kind of with this kind of almost kind of rubberized feel. Oops. It feels really good. And I'm not worried about bending it in half. I haven't tried to do that myself. And I think you're dumb if you try. So I don't know. I don't know what else to say.
You know, I'm not really a big I guess I don't look at bend test videos and make phone decisions based off of those. No, I don't. So yeah, that's kind of all I have to say about that. Yeah.
Yeah. Battery life. Arjan in the chat, battery life has been fantastic. So this guy around 2,700 milliamp hour in the Pixel 2,
which is pretty small.
That's pretty tiny. But it is kind of a tiny phone minus the bezels, 5-inch display. It's only full HD. So the battery life has been really good. I wake up, you know, around 7:30, go to bed around 10, 11 p.m. And like I said, I play a lot of video games. Like, I play the Star Wars game all day long, and that eats some battery juice. And this phone held up well. I didn't have to plug it in a single time during the day. And I was always going to bed like with around 20%, 25%, 15% of battery left. And for me, that's really good. Especially considering, you know, how kind of small the battery is when compared to the other flagship devices out there. Kellen, what type of battery life were you getting?
Oh yeah, my battery life, same thing. Like, although the Pixel 2 XL obviously has a bigger battery, 20 milliamp hour, which is big, not oversized or anything like that. Yeah, same thing though. Like, never once have I had to, like, if I take it off the charger in the morning, go to bed, I still had power. Like, one day I had like hammered on and somehow got 7 hours of screen on time, which is kind of insane. Obviously, I did absolutely nothing with my life that day, but I did, and still had like 7% left, I think, when I went to bed. So it's been kind of crazy to see a phone, and Google's phones have never necessarily been kings of battery life. Like, I mentioned this in the review that Google tells us every year there's a new version of Android. We did all this stuff to make battery life awesome. And we go, that's awesome. I can't wait to see. And then they go, and of course, we'll showcase that on our new phones that are coming. We go, that's really cool too. Let's get those new phones. And then we get them, and then the battery life's like average, right? And we kind of just go, what's the deal? You just said it was supposed to be awesome, and it's not. But these phones seem pretty damn good. Like, when I'm done now that we are done reviewing this, I doubt I'm going to be doing 5 to 7 hours of screen on time every day. And that means this thing's probably I'm going to go to bed with like 30% or something, which is kind of nuts. I know it's not full 2 day, but we're never going to get full 2 day unless you have a dumbed down mid-range phone or something like that, right? So yeah, battery life's been great.
Battery life has been good. Now, I know people don't like it when I talk about price, but I'll just quickly touch on it because Ben Murphy in the chat, he says, what exactly are you paying for a camera and quick updates? Laugh my A off. So Pixel 2 starts at $650 for 64 gigs, up $100 if you go 128. The Pixel 2 XL starts at $849 for 64 gigs, $949 for 128 gigs. Now, we can say it like that. That seems expensive, but it seems justified to me. And I always try and say, when I'm thinking about a justified price for a flagship phone, I look at the overall package. I'm not just looking at the camera that did happen to be rated the best by DxOMark. No big deal. NBD. We actually think the camera is also very good too.
The camera is fantastic. Yes.
Yes, the camera is fantastic, but you're paying for so much more than that. You're paying for squeezy sides. You're paying for the removal of the headphone jack. But no, in actuality, this is the first Pixel phone with water resistance. It does come with the squeezy sides, which is actually nice. The camera should be worth something to you because it actually is quite nice. But then there's other things, right? And the quick updates, 3 years of major OS upgrades, that is actually something noteworthy that we did write up just yesterday.
But okay, so I'm assuming Ben is saying like, yeah, they took away all this stuff. Haha, it's got a trash screen. We'll talk about that. It doesn't have a headphone jack and no wireless charging, and it cracks when you bend it, or whatever the hell he's getting at. So find me a phone that doesn't have like some sort of flaw still. Like, if I buy the Note 8, I get the worst fingerprint reader placement in the history of smartphones, trash software, no software updates ever outside of a security patch. I mean, like, so a camera and quick updates with Google, but yeah, I also get their experience. I get their style of phone. So, I mean, if you like Samsung, that means you like trash software and stupid fingerprint readers and no updates. So, I mean, I guess I'm like, there's differences between the two, right? And if you go LG, well, you get terrible software for the most part, no updates there as well. Cameras that are getting better but aren't typically on par with Samsung or Google. I mean, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what? So, like, I get that that's like the critique is that like the Pixels don't have like, yeah, you're paying all this money. Well, you're paying all this money for those other phones too, and they have just as many damn flaws. I mean, just like you can go either way. Like, we trash on like all the things missing from each phone. I just think that's so silly. Like, reason I'm kind of getting a little fired up about it, I keep seeing that like on Reddit, in YouTube comments on our channel, in our comments. Like, people are going, this is stupid. You're paying all this money. And look, it's got this and this and that. Well, I just listed out similar issues with all these other phones. I mean, like the Essential phone is now $600. And I would still say, well, yeah, it's still got a crappy camera. It's still got some other, I mean, like, but it's got these other things that are really good. I mean, like, you could do this with every single phone. I don't get it. Like, and Vigilante's like, yeah, we had boners for the S8. The Galaxy S8 is still a great phone. Just like the Note 8 is still a great phone. I'm just saying, like, because you don't find the Pixel and Pixel XL to be like your perfect phone, all of a sudden they're trash and that's way too much money. Well, dude, you just paid $1,000 for the Note 8 and no software updates ever. Like, I don't understand. Like, you buy what you like. That doesn't mean everyone else's stuff is crap. Like, I just, like, it's such a terrible way to look at things.
Yeah, first of all, how dare you come at this with a sensible argument? Not a fan of that on the internet. You need to just be way more obnoxious about it. But no, like you said, there are pros and cons to every phone. It's not that the Pixel 2 doesn't have them. And, for a $649 starting price for this phone, that's not some outrageous price. For a water resistant, fingerprint reading, NFC having phone that's going to get 3 years of upgrades. That's not a lot to ask, I don't think. I mean, OnePlus, they're just about there. They're in that high fives if you want the 128 gig. And that phone, not nearly as good, I would say, as this one. That, especially in the camera department, my God, I mean, that thing's got 2 cameras. This has 1, and it's like 3 times as good. So you could argue either side of it, but the point is, these are also really good phones.
Shout out the reader who emailed us the other day that was like completely pissed off that we talk about the price of stuff. Shout him out. I can't think of his name, but
Yeah, no, that's right. Yeah.
Not that we're trying to go off another price tangent, but it got brought up in the comments. So sorry, price guy, if you're listening. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, price is sort of a big deal, but again, like I don't want to get all up in that just because people will pay whatever they want to pay. I mean, here we are bickering about
That's
this,
it though.
but
That's exactly it. People will pay what they're willing to pay. Not like that's how this works. Google makes a phone. If you're not willing to pay that for it, you don't get it. If you're willing to pay that much for the Samsung phone, go do it. Like I don't care. I don't care what phone you own. And if I own this one, like you shouldn't really care that much. Like I get it. I get it. Like you want to always defend yours as the best. Like that's just what we do.
we're
But
passionate.
Jesus, the Pixel 2 and Pixel 2 XL by all means are worth that price because, well, people are willing to pay that, number one. And number two, like they match up to these other phones. And if anything, like they're less expensive than some of these other. So I don't know. It's just silly.
I guess if I was trying to relate this to Apple and the new iPhone 10, because I mean, in my opinion, these new Pixels beat the iPhone 8, no problem. But even thinking to the iPhone 10, it's so innovative. But in actuality, I don't really see it that way. I would put the Pixel 2 XL up against the iPhone 10 or the Galaxy S8 up against it. I mean, I love Android because we have different choices, right? And here we are. We can talk about how different companies price things, or this phone lacks this but has that. Where in actuality, on paper, I mean, all these Android phones really, really kick the crap out of these new iPhones, and that makes me happy that we have so many choices and can argue about stuff like this.
Yeah, I'm all for choice and having these conversations, but the price thing is just starting to get silly. Like,
well, it's expensive, man. Like I get where people are coming from because it is expensive.
That I do.
But again,
but you can't go buy a Note 8 and a V30 and say that the Pixels aren't. I just like this is where we are. This is where phones are. And if you don't want it, just don't buy it. Is all I would say. So, anyways, moving out of price. Back to the review stuff though.
Yes.
So you mentioned camera. The camera, like this should not be understood. Like the camera on this phone is so freaking good. And again, this has nothing to do with its ratings in other third-party systems. Like you pull this phone out, take pictures, it looks like what you're seeing. The HDRs, I don't want to say it's perfectly done. It processes almost perfectly. Like when it takes a picture, oftentimes as it's processing, if you have like those live motion things or whatever on, it looks kind of weird, and all of a sudden it processes and you just go, holy like this is awesome. Its portrait mode's great. It's great in low light. There's stabilization galore, especially like in video. I like, we talk a lot about cameras because they're such an important part of our lives, right? Like most of us, like you don't even need to carry a professional camera around ever. You have a great camera right there. So when we make fun of like the Essential phone and the OnePlus 5, it's because they're cameras, right? And like this phone, Galaxy Note 8 and I would put the V30 there as well. They're just so damn good. And this phone, it's just fast and it's going to get better. Like when the embargo lifted for review this week, we shared news with you guys that there's like a hidden chip in the phone called the Pixel Visual Core. It's an image processing unit. It's not even active yet, but Google put it in there because it's going to be active and it's going to do cool stuff. And it's going to let third-party camera apps like take advantage of its HDR plus. I would imagine like the Instagram app or whatever, right? Or maybe the camera in like Facebook Messenger, whatever, right? Like all these third-party camera apps will be able to take advantage of like that. So it's going to get better. Even though it's already technically one of the best, it's going to get better. Like that's crazy. But it's not worth it though, Tim. It's not worth it. It doesn't have wireless charging. No, it's not worth it.
Yeah, I don't see everyone's hang up on wireless charging. Like that's the least of my concerns, really.
Can we talk about
I would take
charging as
expandable
possibly
storage.
being the most overrated feature at this point in the history of all features?
Sure.
I mean, wireless charging there was a time where it didn't matter if you plugged your phone in or set on a wireless charger, it was slow. It sucked, right? And then we got fast charging and people started taking away wireless charging because they're like, you should just fast charge. It's like faster. And so we kind of went, but we like this wireless charging thing. And then we all started fast charging things. And the fast charging was awesome. And we fast charge everything. And if something doesn't have it like the iPhone, well, I think the new iPhones do, but iPhones forever haven't had fast charging, right? Which is kind of insane. Android phones have had that for like 3 or 4 years. Anyway, so we fast charge. And then Samsung created fast wireless charging, which is pretty fast. Obviously not as fast as being wired, but it's pretty fast. And no one else, that's like their tech. I don't think anyone else is doing fast wireless charging. So any phone outside of a Samsung phone has slow, crappy wireless charging. Just plug it in and charge the thing up in like 15 minutes. Don't just set it over here and it gets hot and gross and like charges slowly. Like that's just, I don't really care about why. Like it's one of those things. Look at me, I'm going on another tangent about stuff being gone. The wireless charging thing, I would rather just plug my phone in and have it charge fast and just move on. If somebody can come up with a super fast wireless charging, even faster than Samsung's, hell yes, put that in everything. I don't miss wireless charging at all. And if people are complaining that it doesn't have it, like I just kind of ignore that comment. Like I don't care. The other thing I will say is these phones, they're not all glass. And obviously that's partly the reason why there can't be wireless charging. I don't know that I really love all glass phones that much anymore. I won't name the phone, but I dropped one the other day that had an all glass back and it shattered everywhere. I haven't done that a lot and I've handled a lot of glass phones, but glass is not premium. I think we should probably start moving away from this idea that an all glass body, and I don't get me wrong, I've said it's premium probably 300 times in the last couple of years, but like glass really isn't a premium material. Like it breaks, it's fragile. So anyways, that's just another thing. But the wireless charging, I just don't get it. Just plug your phone in. It's super fast.
You're so defensive today, Kellen.
I'm kind of fired up today.
Well,
I had this nasty cold and I lost my voice for like 3 days, so I haven't talked much. So
yeah,
feels good to talk.
I will say we are not, I don't think we're being defensive. We're only just trying to get the point across that the Pixel 2 is a really good phone and you shouldn't hate on it because of something it's missing or you don't like it. Is that what
the chat's saying? Is that we're so defensive about it?
Well, there's one person in particular. He's a nice individual, but he keeps saying,
it's Vigilante. Yeah. Yeah. Because I'm sure he owns a Note. I'm sure he owns a Note 8.
Exactly. Well, I was just letting him know that we don't really care. You can talk crap about the Pixel 2 all you want. You're missing out on a really good phone if you don't try it. That's fine though. I don't care.
Yeah. Again, back to the point I made like half an hour ago. You buy the phones you like. If you don't like the Pixel 2, it's totally fine. But I don't get why you have to go, it's terrible and not worth it. Well, just because you don't think so. Anyway, we don't need to go down that. Software wise, you just can't really beat, like you kind of mentioned, like it feels like, Google's finally got it right sort of thing. It does feel like an all-in-one package. Like we used to get, like Nexus phones and we get this clean version of Android and it always felt really well put together and they're always some of the best performing, but Google's slowly been adding on. And we talked to, I think we just brought this up on the previous show, how we're calling it basically the Pixel skin now, because Google really is putting their own spin on top of stock Android. Like this is no longer stock Android. It's the Pixel experience. But it looks like stock Android, right? With some tweaks from Google, and then they throw on some extra stuff like Active Edge. But it's starting to feel like this really polished experience. And it just happens to be the experience that like we prefer because it's kind of like stock Android, if that makes sense. Whereas it's not like a heavily overly done skin. So the software is awesome. I mean, it's buttery smooth. And I don't know what benchmarks say about this. Like it's another thing I don't really care about. Like when I use a phone, like I use every major phone. Like I can tell when a phone stutters and hiccups and has some issues. Like this doesn't do that. The V30 doesn't hiccup to me. The Note 8 didn't hiccup. Like the Note 8 was one of the first phones Samsung made, I thought, that actually had like dialed in software. Like I remember when I reviewed the Galaxy S8, I was like, there's some hiccups here, like that shouldn't be here on their phone of the year. The Note 8 didn't have those, so they actually improved. But Google has this just dialed in so proper. And then now they're adding on like features that are actually pretty useful. Like you mentioned Active Edge. Like I know that's all it does, launch a system, but it's kind of a handy way to launch a system without having to say the hot word, right? So
yeah, don't say the hot word. Vigilante would like to know if the bending of the phone is a legit concern that people should know about.
Oh, bending of the phone. Oh, yes. Okay. So what Tim was talking about earlier is the YouTube channel Jerry Rig Everything, the guy that like bends everything and scratches things. He had a Pixel 2 and he bent it because that's what he does. He bends phones. And there's like a seam where one of the antenna lines is, and it like like the antenna line, it's like it connects to the metal frame, and so it's not very strong, so it gave way. He wasn't able to bend the whole phone. It just cracked in that position right there. I don't think you should worry about it. Like, we're talking about a man putting as much pressure as he possibly can on the side of his phone, and it gave way. It still worked afterwards. I mean, like, you would have to grab your phone and go like as hard as you could to do what he just did. So I mean, if you're not going to do that to your phone, then you should be fine. That's typically how it works with these bend tests, right?
Yeah. I don't really get the bend tests. But just personally, I think it's not real world usage, right? Like, I don't know who's out there doing that or why you would, right? I mean, people are concerned about spending all this money on these phones, and then they're worried that if you do that, it's gonna break. You should just be more careful, or like
don't try to break your phone. Like, you shouldn't be trying to break your phone, but
yeah. Or shout out to the people who learned that if you stuck the S Pen in backwards, that it would get stuck, and then they said, "I'm gonna try it just because," and they did it, and like
which was pretty awesome.
No, that's fantastic.
Great moments in history of smartphones. Yeah.
Absolutely. But if you know something is bad for your device and then you try to do it anyway, I have no sympathy for you.
Yeah. Somebody mentioned what if you put your phone in your back pocket and sit on it? Don't put your phone in your back pocket. Who does that? I've put my phone in my back pocket a couple of times, and it is a weird feeling. Like, I actually want to know in the chat, do you put your phone in your back pocket? If so, I just want to know why. Not like crapping on you for doing that, because I've tried it a couple times. Like if I grab a couple of review phones, or I'm filming a review and I've got multiple phones, like, one will sometimes slip in the back pocket, and it always makes me super nervous. So I'm just curious, like, why people do it.
I can't. I have a very prominent bum, and I can't. It just like sticks out too much, and it's terrible. It just doesn't feel good. So
no, it doesn't. Feels weird.
What's up, Thor? But yeah, well, I don't know. Is that it for our Pixel 2 review? Fired up.
I don't know what else is there to say. I mean, we didn't have many issues. Oh, we got to talk about the display.
Oh, yes.
Okay, so this week, as review embargoes lifted, and we're talking about this guy, Pixel 2 XL display. So some of the early reviews mentioned that when you tilt it to the side, here, I'm sure you can see it. When you tilt it to,
oh my God,
you can actually kind of see it on there. There's this blue tint as you tilt it sideways like this. And some other people mentioned that in really, really low light situations, it kind of looks grainy or dirty. And then the other thing was the colors just look muted and, muted, drab, kind of gross. So, until like that bit of news started making the rounds, I'd been using the phone for almost a week at that time, and not once did I look at this phone and go, man, the colors look terrible. This blue thing is really annoying and I can't unsee it. And in low light, it looks terrible. Like, I honestly, I didn't say either of those things. Once they were pointed out, I could see them. Yeah. So like, if you tilt the phone to the side, it does kind of turn this bluish color. Like, if you have a lighter background up, like say Chrome, and there's a white background, like, you can see it. It's pretty obvious. I spend a lot of time in Twitter on dark mode, the Scores sports app, which still sucks, by the way, but it's a dark app. I spend a lot of time in apps that have color and things like that. So I honestly, I didn't really notice it. It is there though. Like, if you tilt to the side, yeah, there's some color adjustment. The viewing angles are okay, right? They get a little darker when you so anyway, people freaked out about that. The color thing, it's starting to sound more and more like Google purposely left the phone in an sRGB state, which is they consider more natural. They didn't want to tweak everything and give that vivid color pop that you see on Samsung phones. So it's looking more and more like they kind of left it in that position. And we think they may have done that because, and there's a really good write-up on this over at Reddit. Was the guy's name Short Fuse, the Redditor that wrote it up? Something like that. Anyway, we've linked it. So we wrote up this thing on the display issues. We linked to this Reddit thread where a guy yesterday explained what he's found. And basically what he said is it's in sRGB mode, which is a low mode. But that's because Oreo allows developers to change to whatever color space they want. They can do a wide color gamut. They can do HDR. They can leave it in low, which is sRGB. And so the problem is no one has built out support for anything. And so everything is defaulting to sRGB on this phone. So that's not giving Google a pass. What I think we all believe they should do is give us an option to turn it on wide color gamut so we get that brighter pop, those colors, that stuff that we're used to seeing. Because not everyone wants to look at sRGB, right? I want red to be kind of a little more vibrant, or like the Pixel launcher. If they build in wide color gamut to the Pixel launcher, it'll show like more vibrancy on your home screen. Like that's the stuff they can do, right? So anyway, that's the other issue. So Google has already said, we're listening. If there's enough feedback, we'll give people some more color options, whatever. So Google could fix that part with the software. As far as the dark grittiness in dark light, I really haven't noticed it. So I don't look at white backgrounds in the dark with my phone turned brightness all the way to low. So that hasn't happened to me. I guess my sort of cool take on this is I haven't really noticed it. It hasn't bothered me. Do I think this is the best display on the planet? No, it's not. Like Samsung's displays are the best. Like the Note 8's panel compared to this, like come on. Even the S8, S8 Plus, like those just look more in a way that I prefer. When they're sitting side by side, like you can tell, like those colors are more vibrant. They look more fun, I should say. Whereas this really does have that kind of toned down, muted color profile. Do I think people should like cancel their pre-orders and stuff? No, not really. I think you should get your pre-order, use the phone for a couple days, and decide if it's going to be a problem or not. I think like that's what you should do. And if you don't like it, then send it back and get something else, right? Or maybe by then Google will have issued a software patch that adds a wide color gamut option. I don't know. So in the end, to keep this shorter than short because it doesn't need to be too long. I don't think the display is that big of a deal. I don't have any issues with it personally. I think it's obviously going to be a personal eye taste test kind of thing, right? Like you look at it, you might say, this is terrible. You might look at it and say, this is fine. I think you just need to see. And I don't think everyone should go out and cancel their pre-orders because of it. I think you really should get it in hand because there's only like a handful of us that have actually had it in hand to respond to this. And yeah. That's kind of what I like. I know it's kind of brewed up to be this controversy. I don't really think that it is. I think one of the problems is, and it often is the problem with Google, is they're terrible at communicating things like this. Like they should have just said, and like they did tell us, like it's going to be a more natural color experience. They should have just said the shit's in sRGB mode, and that's just the way we want it. And developers can make things brighter and look different. And like, if you read this guy's posts in Reddit, like he's like, I don't even know that like this stuff's even fully baked out yet. So people may not even know. And like, that's part of the problem, I think, is like Google set this thing to sRGB, Oreo, that's how it's supposed to project, and everyone else is supposed to customize it. And Google maybe hasn't really shared that with everyone. Like that's a problem. So I don't know. I think we got fixes on the way. The tilting to blue thing, I tend to look at my phone straight on. I don't know about you guys. So, if you like looking at your phone from the side, it's just a little blue. That's all.
I'm really tired of all like the dash gates that are going on.
Yeah.
And everyone's got an opinion. And it seems like everyone has an opinion, especially when they haven't held the device or seen it in person. That's always my recommendation. If you are really concerned about it, go into a Verizon store or head to one of Google's pop-up shops and get it in hand and check it out. Maybe it won't bother you. Maybe it will. And if it does, believe me, there's plenty of other phone options out there on the market for you. You know, you're not stuck with getting this one. So the more I read up on it, and like you said, that Reddit post, I don't see it as a problem. And in fact, I see it as like good guy Google trying to help its users get better performance, et cetera, et cetera. But then they just leave it up to developers to, if they really want to push the display to its limits, then they can do that. So
it's one of those things where Google's probably doing what may be the correct approach to let people kind of customize this color experience to themselves or for themselves. But it seems like it was, again, like Google always is poorly communicated. We don't really know. And all they're just saying is, no, we just tuned it naturally. We may offer something else, but it really sounds like people can customize. We just need developers to do it, app develop, all that stuff. So in the long run, it could be cool. Just right now, it might drive some people nuts.
Yeah, no, I mean that's fine if you want to cancel your pre-order, and then that gives other people who have been wanting to order the phone in a specific variant, Panda 64 gig that's been sold out. Then you can let others have a chance to get it. That's cool too. There's plenty of people who want to buy the phone. I don't think there's, thanks to Google's ad campaign they got going on. I just watched like a 2-minute commercial last night during Thursday Night Football just about the Pixel 2 and how much more it can do than the iPhone. And I love this. Google is always taking knocks at Apple, and it's like, no, just stop, Google, because they were talking about last year how, oh, we've got a headphone jack, ha ha
Yeah,
ha.
that was a
They
good one.
removed it.
That didn't
Now,
age well.
yeah, and then yesterday, or in this commercial that's been out for a couple of weeks now, I think they were saying, oh, well, our camera is better and we only have one while you have two. Watch, next year it's confirmed. Pixel 3 will have dual camera system. I wish,
Embarrassing.
I know,
Google can't fall behind like that, right?
no,
Which it kind of feels a little bit sometimes like they do.
it does
Hopefully.
kind of feel like that.
Yeah.
And what, next year Pixel 3 will have wireless charging, and it's the circle of life.
It really is. It really is.
It moves us on.
Speaking of availability, so if you go in the Google store, there's not a lot there. Obviously, Verizon stores have some models. If you want the Penguin Pixel 2 XL, you cannot buy it almost anywhere. Actually, I think you can buy it at Verizon store, and it's still not going to ship though till like almost December, I think. We actually ran a poll this week, or opened up a question in comments for people to tell us, like, if they ordered the Penguin Pixel 2 XL, like, has it actually shipped, or like, when's your estimated date? Like, no one's has shipped. Like, I think it's obvious either Google had manufacturing issues with this thing and it wasn't ready, or we just underestimated how many people actually ordered this thing. But I don't know that I haven't looked at the comments in like the last few hours, but it certainly didn't look that first day like anyone had a shipping estimate that was like this week. Like, the phone launched yesterday. Like, if you had a Just Black pre-order in, you got your phone yesterday. I don't think anyone was getting Penguin 2 XL yesterday. So that kind of sucks. Maybe it's this weird coating they put on the phone and the white didn't stick or something. I'm not really sure. But availability, that one's gone. But if you want a Just Black one, I'm pretty sure you could buy one like today, either model, and you'll probably get it like today or tomorrow. Like, it depends on, which store, which version you go with. But a lot of these all the Just Black ones, I think, are pretty easy to find. The kind of blue one, I think, is tough to get. And the clearly white is a few weeks back, I believe, on the Pixel 2. But
Bertzer in the chat wants to know if we prefer the 2 or the 2 XL. For me, I haven't used the 2 XL whatsoever. I plan on using it. I plan on that sort of being my phone. But all I've used so far is the 2. And, I actually kind of grew to love it, even with its nasty big bezels. I think it's a really good phone. So I don't really have a preference yet. I know Kellen has both of them. Like, what would you?
Right here.
Yeah, there you go. Which one, if you had to pick just one, which one would it be? Would you go broken display or huge bezels?
So I haven't used huge bezels all that much. You've had the review unit. This one just showed up yesterday, so I haven't really had that much of a chance to spend with it. In hand, after using the big guy all week, it feels tiny. Like, it feels like a small phone. Yeah. And the bezels obviously really stand out after using a phone that has somewhat minimal bezel. So I don't know that I would go this guy. As great as this feels in hand, I think the bezels for me would probably kill it. Although, I do love me a small phone.
Yeah.
The big guy, it's a big phone. We talked about like a week ago, I did a comparison of the V30 to a bunch of other phones, saying like, this is probably what the Pixel 2 XL. It's not. Like, it's quite a bit bigger than the V30. I don't know if you can see that. It's quite a bit taller than the V30. So that actually was a pretty terrible comparison if we look back at it now. It's more like exactly the same size as the 6P. So if you have a 6P, you'll know what this feels like. It's a little bit shorter than the Note 8. So it's a big phone, and I'm not necessarily a huge fan of big phones. I think choosing between the two, I would probably go the big one, just because that, somewhat lesser bezel experience, bigger battery. I don't know. Like, we're so used to using big screens now that I would probably go this. This thing just kind of looks a little dated to me. Wow. You need to turn that thing on. It just kind of looks a little dated. So.
Yeah, no, that's You're absolutely right. It is sort of, well, it's sort of the hardware. I mean, I guess looking at it design wise, it is sort of boring, you could say. Like the back looks good, but the front, it's like, what year is this from?
Yeah, it does
So
look.
I hear what you're saying. Yeah.
One thing I would point out in obviously, unless you have these right next to each other right now, doing what I'm doing, rubbing these, the smaller guy, huge bezels, he feels just a little more gritty. It's more of
Mm.
that I always forget the damn name, the sandstone that OnePlus did for a while. It gets closer to that, whereas this one just feels a little softer, plasticky. Just thought I'd point that out.
Oh, it's
Yeah, I would probably go 2XL just because it's kind of the bigger, more modern version of the two. Even though it is big, just keep that in mind. It's not a small phone.
no.
Like the V30, you could argue this is almost smallish. Like it fits in hand really nicely.
The V30 hardware, it feels great in hand. Like the glass is kind of buttery smooth and just your thumb glides all over it. It's really nice.
It's
Great
really,
phone.
really nice, yeah.
Great phone. Can't wait to use it.
So also this week we got a sort of second confirmation that these Pixel 2 2XLs will get 3 full years of Android version support. So that was listed on the specs on their store listings, but Google's never really said either way like how to take that, and it was kind of vague the way it was written. But on the official Google support page, it now says they do get it through October 2020. So that's huge. I mean, you were talking Android R, assuming Google sticks to this like August release schedule. Talking Android R. That's a pretty big deal. 3 full years of Android versions.
I wonder what it's going to be.
I have no idea. Reese's Pieces.
Okay, no, seriously, do you call it Reese's Pieces?
No.
Or Reese's Pieces?
It's Reese's Pieces.
Okay, because people I talk to on the East Coast say Reese's Pieces, and I can't talk to them anymore. I defriend them.
No, I would say it's Reese's Pieces.
Reese's Pieces. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's his, it's possessive. It's Reese. Was it Reese's Pieces? Anyway, doesn't matter. Moving on.
Additionally, Android 8.1 was not really announced this week, but sort of when Google did that write up for the Pixel Visual Core. They mentioned that will become activated with Android Oreo 8.1, which is the maintenance release 1, MR1. They said it's just in the coming weeks it'll arrive, so that could be like December. I think MR1 for Nougat shipped sometime around then, right? The developer preview was like December of last year, so probably same time. And it'll do that developer preview again before it rolls out to stable. So that is coming. So 8.1 is official. We just don't have it yet. Anything else to talk about here with Pixel 2, Pixel 2 XL? It's only been like 45 minutes worth of it.
Yeah, someone was asking if we could bend one of our review units so they could see if it's but no, it's not gonna happen from us, dude.
We're not gonna bend anything.
Yeah.
Someone asked, King of Hearts says, can anyone confirm if the Verizon version comes with preloaded apps? I don't think it comes with preloaded apps. I think when you put your SIM in, it installs like My Verizon. I can't confirm that. I don't have I have a Verizon SIM. It's in another phone. I haven't tried, so somebody will have to note that in the chat. What else? I mean, I think that's pretty much it. I think you and I are just excited to get in Penguin version to just use that for a while. And then now that so Tim's got the written review of these phones done. We will have a video review of them. Should be up early next week. And then after that, it's back to V30. So for those of you who have been waiting for us to review the V30, it's up next. I mean, I hate to tell the V30 that like it needed to be paused for a while it was Pixel 2 time, but you know, it was Pixel 2 time. So every year, like there's a few phone releases that are kind of the big deals of all big deals, and that's like Galaxy S8, Pixel. That's kind of it, right? Note 8 maybe in that conversation too. Yeah. I hate to say that, but we kind of roll with our audience, and those are the phones that our audience like gravitates the most to. So V30 is coming back. Don't worry, we'll still review it. It might be another week or so, but we'll get back on it early next week, and we'll have that for you.
Yeah, we both have it, so should be able to pump it out pretty quickly.
And it's a really good phone. I mean, we've talked about it a lot. In case you were wondering, like the V30 is an awesome phone. If you don't like the Pixel 2 2XL, you can't get them. You're not on Verizon, whatever. Feel free to look at the V30. It's a really, really nice phone.
Yeah. Ruben was just quickly asking. Also, people were talking about how much screen on time we got with the pixels, all that stuff we talk about in the review. So www.droid-life.com. You can look at the review. We pretty much talk about everything. Ruben asked, planning on getting the Pixel 2, is there a difference other than screen size between the XL and normal? It's battery size and screen size and like overall look. Other than that, same camera, same processor, same amount of RAM, same fingerprint reader, same everything. I can't think of anything else, just battery, display, and like overall look and feel. So there's your answer.
Yeah, that's kind of one of the nice things. Same thing with the Pixel and Pixel XL last year. Like they were the same phone. One was just bigger. These two, they might be made by different people, but you get the same experience. You get the same camera. So if you don't like big phones, you get the little guy and still have an incredible camera experience.
Little guy's not bad. It's not bad.
So this is totally random news, but Essential phone is $100 off right now. And the white one just popped up in stock with $100 discount at Best Buy.
Ooh.
For those listening live who really need a white Essential phone.
Yep.
All right, so HTC has an event coming up on November 2nd. It is an HTC U event. So we're expecting a new HTC U phone. So there's a couple of rumors out there. One suggests we'll get a U11 Plus, which would be, well, at least like the rumors show, an upgraded version of the HTC U11 with an all-display front, minimal bezel, back to on-screen buttons, fingerprint reader moved to the back, and but still like that metallic, liquid metallic look. And then the other rumor or additional rumor suggests that it could be a smaller U11 Ocean Life, whatever the hell it was called, which is like a mid-range-ish phone. So it would kind of complete this U11 family. The U11 Plus, if this thing shows up, looks amazing. And I know we haven't seen like official, well, we did actually get an official photo today. It's not the cleanest thing, but somebody created mock-up or 3D renders based off of probably case schematics or something like that. And it looks awesome. It's like an HTC phone without the stupid thumb fingerprint button on the front and the capacitive buttons, which for some reason they keep doing. It's like an all display front, like we wanted HTC to do with the U11. It looks awesome. I don't know what they're going to charge for this thing when it's coming out or anything, but should it arrive soon, it will probably be something people should consider, because the U11 had an incredible camera, really good battery life. Software is fine, right? The design is obviously kind of cool, that liquid metal stuff. So
nope.
You're like, oh, hell no.
Yeah, like, I don't know. Should I buy a phone from a company that could possibly be out of business in a year or two? Like, I want to make sure I still get my updates and all that stuff. Like, do I trust them to survive? I don't know. I mean, that leaked render, video thing, it looked cool. It just it looks like a 2XL, just sort of tweaked hardware wise. And that's cool. Maybe HTC will finally do something right, like in terms of the buttons, arrangement, fingerprint reader. It's just like, I guess I've given up hope on them completely by this point. I'm not even expecting this phone to come to America. I don't see it.
Can you imagine if it doesn't? People will be so pissed.
What carrier is possibly going to take it? Sprint?
Well, none. I mean, I think they've given up on being on any carrier at this point.
They're done.
So, I mean, you make a valid point, though, that like HTC, now I know they didn't sell their business to Google or anything. Google just bought a bunch of their supposed Pixel employees and added
1,000 engineers.
Yeah, a couple thousand engineers that supposedly all worked on Pixel stuff. So I know they did that. But yeah, like part of me still thinks that like next year, like, because HTC said when that announcement with Google came, like, we still have a flagship coming, we're making another flagship phone, it's gonna be awesome, whatever. Part of me kind of thinks like they're gonna release that next flagship whenever they do it, right? Say it's on the 2nd or next year. And I seriously wouldn't doubt if like that's it, and then Google just buys up like their manufacturing or something or whatever else, and HTC just kind of done. I know that's like a grim outlook and prediction, but what you're saying is kind of what some people should consider. Like, if HTC is making a phone, do you want to buy a phone from them not really knowing exactly what the future holds? I mean, there's been weird rumors for a while, like swirling, like they're going to sell this off and that off, and then Google was going to buy them. And like, remember initially, everyone up until the minute it was announced, people had it as Google is buying HTC Smart. I mean, like that was the report, like multiple reports said that. And then they were like, no, we actually just bought some employees. And we're like, well, how did like all these local outlets in Taiwan and then everywhere else here, how did they all get that wrong? So it just feels like, and we've talked about this before too, but it feels like we didn't get the whole picture there where they're like, yeah, no, we bought all these employees. And we're like, really? To do what?
Exactly. It didn't make any sense.
No, it still doesn't make much sense. So
it was like the beginning of a transition. And then once that happens, I just see HTC pivoting to VR, Vive, and all that stuff, and just sort of breaking away from the smartphone stuff because that has not been working for them for like the past 5-6 years. Like,
yeah, I mean, when was the last time HTC had a good
banger
quarter?
Been a long time. No bangers.
It's been a really long time. While they're still making decent phones. I mean, the HTC U11 is a good phone, but you know they're still losing money every quarter. I mean, like it doesn't make sense. Obviously, long term, HTC can't continue to lose money or not make money. Like that's not how businesses operate. So, yeah, I'm with you. That makes sense. Like you'd be a little hesitant to invest in the next HTC phone.
Yeah, people were saying like, how about the M8? Yeah, like they put out good phones, but like,
was the M8 really?
Well, I mean, it looked cool. Dual cameras, like boom sound, like
4 megapixel camera. Come on, you cannot. HTC will never get a pass in my book for releasing 2 phones in a row with 4 megapixel cameras. Think about that again. 4 megapixel cameras. Like most phones now, and I know it's been years, like the front camera is like 16, 8. It's been 5 for as long as I can remember. They put a 4 megapixel camera on the back of a flagship phone twice. Man.
So yeah, I guess HTC has a lot to prove if they want to stick around.
Yeah, I think they need to let people know like they're actually sticking around. Like I don't know that anyone's believed that they really are.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm not confident in their future, and they haven't done anything to help with that.
Right.
They don't do any marketing besides a couple of tweets. So, and they only tell people who are in like their little Elevate group. So
Elevate.
we know nothing.
I love Elevate. All right, so I mentioned this. Essential phone is $100 off. It's now available in white as well. The white version actually just came out last week. We didn't do a show last week, so I'm telling you now. But the Essential in white, you can actually buy it. Yes, they've still continued to release software updates to the Essential phone. Not a lot has changed. Like they're slowly doing things to like fix bugs and all that.
Fail.
Like the camera's still, I mean, it's just still not good. So Essential phone, I like hardware, all that, the clean software, even though it's kind of slow and jittery. I really do like that phone. I just still will never tell any of you to actually go buy it, unfortunately. Even though the white version looks really, really hot. $100 off though. Is it worth $100 off? No.
Sure. I'd still like amazing hardware. It's just everything else sucks. Yeah. Although it's gotten better, right? Like I can't speak from experience. Like I wanted the phone so bad, but Kellen kept saying this phone sucks or the software's trash, the camera's trash. I'm like, well, I can't use it if it's trash.
It's still the weirdest phone ever because
you want to love it.
Yes, I still want, every time I hold it, I'm like, yes, this is the phone. Look at that stock Android, this cool display. Like every time I take pictures of it for the site, I just kind of go, man, this is a cool looking phone. And then I use it for like a couple hours. And I mean, it got to the point where like I swapped in a Verizon SIM card at one point and like I would leave the house.
What?
Yeah, I know. I left the house, right? And Wi-Fi would turn off and then I would just like not have any connection. And so I would toggle like airplane mode on, nothing. Reboot it, nothing. Then I would have to like do an airplane mode toggle, reboot, and then Verizon service would come back. I haven't had those issues on T-Mobile, but Verizon did not play well. It's the Essential phone.
What are you wearing? A smartwatch? What are you wearing? People need to know.
The Garmin Phoenix 5.
Okay. Now shut up, everybody.
Garmin Phoenix 5. Yeah. It's not really a smartwatch. It's like a workout thingy. It does some smart thing. I get notifications on it. Can't call anyone. It's like exactly what you want from a smartwatch that barely connects to your phone.
Oh my God, Samsung Shield, please don't bring up. We're not talking Hillary Clinton in our chat.
Oh my God, we are not talking Hillary Clinton in the chat.
No crooked Hillary, Russia, Russia, Russia. No. Anyway, moving on.
Just don't bring that crap up. Like when Trump's in the background of Tim, it's like a joke. It's just funny.
It's
like
funny.
a giant Trump cutout. We don't need to talk either of those people. Yeah, I'd rather just avoid both of them if possible. That would be great for the world. All right. So in actual related news, Samsung announced Bixby 2.0. Sorry. Bixby 2.0. I said Bixby, and I know like that bugs some people that you and I say Bixby. They think we're saying Bixby.
Well, like they know what we mean. Like, why is it such a big deal?
I don't know. I just like people point these things out in our comments all the time, and so they're kind of like running jokes with us. Anyway, Bixby 2.0. They're calling it a bold reinvention of the platform. Remember, the platform just launched it was announced in March, didn't show up until the phones launched, only half baked before we got the voice months later. Like it hasn't even had like 6 months to fully be a thing. And we're already, boldly reinventing it, which is something. Bixby's one of those features like I just never could get into. Like Google Assistant to me makes a lot of sense because it's pretty simple. Like it just takes like a thing and you ask it for Google to do something or give you information that like the idea of Bixby like controlling every single feature on my phone. I think that's one of those things that sounds really cool when you're talking about it, like the future, right? I can just talk to my phone and it'll like go into this setting and turn this off and take a picture and share it here. Like that sounds cool, but it's not easy to do. So I guess a reinvention is what we needed.
Someone at Samsung's developer conference is quoted as to say, I believe Bixby's cognitive tolerance, comprehensiveness, and customization will form the principles of the modern intelligent user interface. That is the most pretentious thing I've ever heard. I think Bixby is trash. I'm not excited for 2.0. As soon as they offered a disable option, I disabled it and never looked back. Sorry. Sorry, not sorry.
The other thing, like this is Samsung just like burying their head in the sand for the last like year or something. They said, today's assistants are useful, but ultimately still play a limited role in people's lives. People use them to set timers and reminders and answer trivial questions. We see a world where digital assistants play a bigger role, an intelligent role, where one day everything from our phones to our fridge to our sprinkler system will have some sort of intelligence to help us seamlessly interact with all the technology we like. Google Assistant and Siri and Alexa do all of that. They do all of that right now. Like, what is Samsung talking about? Like, I can control, if I had sprinklers, like you can control your sprinklers. LG already makes fridges you can talk with Google Assistant. Like, everyone already does all this stuff. Like, what the hell is Samsung talking about?
Well, I feel like they're living in a reality where those other people don't exist. They just live in their own world.
Yeah, they must, because that was a completely clueless statement. They also said something about like, you know, it's going to be able to recognize like multiple voices and all this stuff. And I'm like, where have you, like Google Assistant has done that since like June, and Amazon Alexa just got, like, there are platforms that already do everything Samsung talked about basically in this reinvention. So, I mean, good luck with it, Samsung.
Kid Arnold says Bixby is the best assistant out there. It does everything we wished others would have done. Name one thing, please.
I haven't used Bixby in a while, but can I turn like lights on? Can I do that stuff? Can I adjust my temperature in my house with Bixby? I'm saying this seriously. Can I do that?
You're asking the wrong guy. I don't know.
I don't think I can. I think all I can do is like tell it to open the Nest app and hopefully get it to adjust temperature.
Well, it reminds me of kind of like the voice assistants on Android, that like the talk back modes and all that. I mean, you can tell the phone, open this, open that, and you can just do any setting you want with it. Like, I get it's more baked into the actual OS, and that's definitely neat. But in terms of like assistance and being like my digital assistant, I don't like it. So I mean, that's just me. I guess there's just so many options that it's easy for me to get a little overwhelmed. Like we had Cortana launch for Android and Bixby. I don't need all that. I just need one, preferably Google's, because then no matter what phone I go to, it'll just work. I've
Yeah, that's
got
the other
Google
thing.
Home set up. I mean, I like the, I guess, I don't know if ubiquity is the right word, but just the idea that Google Assistant is everywhere I'm going, no matter what phone or system I'm using from whoever. It's just there. So
No one's answering me
yeah,
if I can actually turn the lights on in my house with Bixby.
they don't know. We don't have any actual
I don't
Bixby
actually
users in
believe that you
chat.
can. So what I'm saying is you can't say it's the best assistant ever if I can't even turn the lights on in my house when every other assistant on the planet can do that.
Yeah.
I mean, these are like simple things that like if you're an assistant, you should be able to help me with.
Steve says, "Can you say Tizen? Tizen,
Tizen.
Tizen. That's how I pronounce it."
It's definitely not Tizen. Do not say it, anyone. It's Tizen.
Have you ever heard someone say Tizen?
No, but I like how else would why like that? I'm just saying like if you're asking, then you probably are thinking it's maybe Tizen, Tizine. I have no idea. It's
Tizen.
It's Tizen.
All right, cool.
Vigilante says because no one knows. Colin, if Bixby can do that, that's exactly right. No one knows because no one uses Bixby.
Exactly.
All right. Huawei announced the Mate 10 and Mate 10 Pro. They are coming to the US. We just have no idea when and how much they will cost. What to say about the Mate 10 and Mate 10 Pro? I think they look pretty nice. The Mate 10 is kind of I don't want to say a standard looking Huawei phone, but it has like the home button still at the bottom. Or the fingerprint reader at the bottom on the front chin. And then the 10 Pro moves that to the back and goes that all sort of full vision like display. I mean, they're both pretty much full vision displays, just only one of them moves the fingerprint reader to the back. There's some interesting specs. Like the regular Mate 10 has a 6 or 5.9 inch quad HD display. They both have the same processor, same dual camera setup, same battery. But then when you go to the 10 Pro, wow, they pulled my video. That's weird. Anyway, so when you go to the 10 Pro, which you think would be like an upgrade, right? It goes 6-inch full view display, but it drops down to 1080p. So, and it goes to OLED. So on the regular 10, it's a quad HD LCD, and then on the Mate 10 Pro, it's a 6-inch 1080p OLED. Like they dropped resolution just so they could go 2:1, 18:9 ratio there. They did up the storage and RAM though, and they added IP68 dust and water resistance, but I think they removed like the SD card slot, whereas the regular 10 has like, it's just weird. Like you would think everything going from Mate 10 to Mate 10 Pro be an upgrade, and like they took away a bunch of stuff. It's just an odd thing.
What's definitely interesting, like I understand, I feel like I understand what they were going for with the Mate 10 Pro versus Mate 10 in terms of the display. I mean, you got the 2:1 aspect ratio plus the OLED display. I get that it's 1080p, but at least the display quality should be better, I would think. And if you want that 2:1 18:9, I'm not calling it 18:9, 2:1.
I like 2:1 as well.
Yeah.
And no headphone jack on the Pro, but the regular one has a headphone jack.
Well, that's what makes it a Pro, right? It doesn't need your silly headphone jack. These phones are cool. I was actually really liking the Mate 9 last year, and Huawei was really growing on me, especially their software. Like it got a lot better. But the fact that they're doing this whole thing where they're not talking about American or US availability, it really just kind of rubs me the wrong way. And I get it. They don't need to be first in line in America just because they sell hundreds of thousands of phones overseas in Asia and Europe. But still, like, some love for the US market would be sweet, right? Although there is that report that says next year, early 2018, maybe we'll see a Huawei flagship on AT&T. Which would be
cool. Hopefully it's not this though, like 6 months late. That's the only thing.
No, it needs to not be some huge thing. It needs to be something kind of like a Pixel 2, like size wise. I think it needs to be more accessible to mainstream people. I don't know. It just needs to be sleek, kind of like I can't think of the.
Is it going to be like the P11? Is that what's next after?
Right,
this?
like that would be sweet. Yeah. A P11. That would
be because the P10 and 9 were both P9. Was there a P9? Yeah. That was a sweet phone. So if they do a P11 here, that'd be great. Because that's about when that comes out, I think, is like first part of the year. But yeah, hopefully they don't wait on this thing and release it on AT&T like 5 months late. That would be a disaster.
That would suck. Hawaiian Brian, I like your name, by the way.
Nice.
You guys are so far off on Bixby, it makes me laugh. You have totally missed the point. Oh, gosh. I didn't know there was a point to get. Like, I just figured it was like a Me Too product. Like, Samsung's like, well, we can do a digital assistant. We could bake one up, launch it 6 months after we talked about it, and it doesn't really do half of what the other ones do, and it's limited to just our phones and our ecosystem. Was that the point? I didn't know I missed one. Anyway.
I always felt like I fully understood the utility of Bixby and understand like the power of it. And as I've explained multiple times, like I get all of the stuff that you can do with it, but there's like a massive learning curve there. And some of the examples they're bringing up are valid, where like you can create like a code word, right? And you can do this in Google Assistant too, like a code word that'll do like multiple things, right? That's really cool, but like these are things you have to like take the time to understand and set up. It just brings up like Tasker, which like gives me an instant headache thinking about that Tasker app that nerds really, really love. That's like what Bixby is. You have to like really figure out every single little way to say this and that to get like, it took way too much time to learn. And the other thing, like if you're living with this phone for the next 2 years, you might get a good grip on everything it does. But, and it was a pain. Like it just was like, I'd rather just fire up Assistant and just say like, do this. And it just goes, okay. Whereas Bixby is like, you had to be specific, like this to this. It was just frustrating. I think like as powerful as it may be, like there's a lot of work that you have to put in, I feel like, to get there.
Yes.
Maybe I'm lazy, but I like smartphones just start doing things for me without a lot of work. Yes, I know that sounds lazy, but yes, like that's what I want.
I can confirm I am lazy. So
yeah. Problem is you have to learn Bixby. See, exactly. Dre in the comments. The problem is you have to learn Bixby, not the other way. That's exactly right. Like Google Assistant learns from me. Alexa learns from me. I'm pretty sure Siri does the same thing. Bixby's like, here, earn some XP points and we'll give you discounts. Like what?
Oh no, like earn XP points and you can unlock different themes for me. Like what? What the hell do I care? Like what you look like. It's just, you know, like I get it. It's like a reward system to help you help them make their service better. That's not my job though. You know? Correct. So
that shouldn't be a part of your launch. Like, well, we're going to launch this softly so that you guys can actually make it good because it sucks right now. That's fine. Let's see. In other news, the Moto X4, if you guys remember that phone, which is a phone we've debated about lots on here because we don't think it belongs in the Moto X category. It is now up for pre-order in the US. It's still $399 and it arrives in October. You can also buy the Amazon Prime exclusive version that has ads in it, and it's $330. I haven't used this phone yet. Like we were supposed to have an Android One version a while ago, and that slipped through the cracks. We don't. We will have, I believe this one I should have today. I think I could say that publicly. So we'll play with this phone now that we'll finally have one. I would imagine $329 for this phone is a good price. I know that's Amazon. You get the ads and crap in there. But it seems like, you get IP68 dust and water resistance, dual camera, decent display, even though it is LCD, all glass premium. I'm just kidding. Glass is not premium. It's fragile. So anyway, that's available. The Moto X4 now in the US. Well, it ships in like a week or something. Let's see what else. ZTE announced ZTE. When was the last time we talked about ZTE on air? It's been a while, I think. ZTE announced a phone with 2 displays. It is called the Axon M, and it costs $725, and it's an AT&T exclusive.
Yep.
Tell me what the Axon M is, because this is...
oh, man, do I have to? All right. So you basically have one phone, and then they crudely attached a second display. So there's 2 5.2-inch displays, full HD, LCD panels, powered by a Snapdragon 821 processor with 4 gigs of RAM.
821. That's what the Pixel launched with a year ago.
Yes. So yeah, just to clarify, Snapdragon 821, not an 835 or anything like that. So you've got these 2 displays. Basically, they're calling it the folding phone. The phone you can fold. I'm sorry, that's not what this is. It's one phone with on a hinge. There's another display, and you can fold it technically, but we're not talking about a display that actually bends.
Yeah. It's like two phones like clasped together. It's like a clamshell.
Exactly.
Foldable phone.
Yeah, my opinion, it might be the ugliest thing ever, but you can do a lot of cool things on it. Apparently,
no.
It's all about the multitasking. So they have a dual mode that provides unlimited potential in app combinations, so consumers can do more all at once. So you can have two screens basically doing two different things. It doesn't have to be just one kind of expanded or extended display, but that is an option if you want. If you have this expanded or extended mode on, you can stream, email, and play games on a full 6.75-inch full HD display. And there's a mirror mode, so if you kind of have it set up kind of like a sawhorse or whatever, you've got one display doing the same. Like, I don't know, if you're sitting across from a friend, I don't know, you could play Battleship together. I don't know.
They actually held a press event for this, and they pre-briefed a whole bunch of press on it beforehand. And then AT&T actually teamed up to do an exclusive on this.
Yeah.
Like, you got to be kidding.
No, they're not kidding, unfortunately.
And it's $725.
$725 for a processor that's really old. And I don't mean really old, but it is old. It needs
to just two 1080p displays.
Yeah, like it should perform fine, but I don't know, like it's not the phone for me. It could possibly be the phone for some. There was this influencer, we'll just call her an influencer, and she was on Twitter, she was at the press event, and she was like, hey guys, I'm here with the ZTE Axon M, and you can do cool stuff like this. She's like swiping it, and the screen isn't even recognizing that she's tapping on it. It looked just like a prop fake phone, you know. And she's like, she doesn't say anything else. Yeah, doesn't say anything else, and then the video just cuts off. Like, what? It was the funniest thing I'd ever seen.
And it was a sponsored tweet. Like, it was hashtag ad at the end. Like, they had ZT had paid this person
paid for that
to go to this thing and tweet out sponsored videos. And it's just like thumbing through, like, and you can do all this cool stuff. And like, you could tell like the guy behind the camera is like, this is not going good. And he just cuts it and still posted this video. Like, ad, get that money, girl.
Yeah,
get that money.
I would have done a retake on that one.
Yeah.
But,
you probably should have done the retake. No,
no,
not having it.
No one's watching this. It's fine.
It's pretty funny.
Good stuff. So yeah, that's the ZTE Axon M. And if you're interested in picking one up, it will be available next month. Priced at $24.17 a month for 30 months, bringing at a full retail price of about $725. So yeah, let's go ahead and read a couple of comments on that post. Well, no, I mean, all these comments are pretty much, they want to know where the Axon 8 is. Yeah. Well, this person says he has an interesting take. It's going to be cool to hate on this project, but I'm glad to see someone in the mobile space trying something weird and relatively unique for 2017. Nah, I mean, it's not like this hasn't been tried before.
You know what I thought was actually the unique take on the dual screen thing was that Yoda phone out of Russia or wherever the hell that thing was from.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
where they actually had the e-paper display on them. Like, that was actually a cool thing. It was just like made over there. No one wanted it here, and they tried to kickstart it or something, or Indiegogo it, and never. And now there was supposed to be a version 3, which I think actually maybe was announced, but it won't come here. Like, that is actually a unique idea. One display is normal on the back just to give you some quick information, notifications, directions. Like, that was cool. A foldable display, I don't know that makes that much sense.
Well, yeah, like
you would have to totally customize that UI so heavily to get apps to play properly with it. And I can't imagine ZT is about to put the resources behind it, and it'll probably never see an update. So,
yeah.
All right. Speaking of random phones that no one will buy, the Razer phone is on the way. I know. See, I like hating on this because gamers always are like, "What?
How dare
Razer?
you?
How dare you?" Yeah. So Razer, the gaming company, they gaming accessory company. How would you describe Razer?
They make gaming peripheral company.
Yeah, they make full computers too, though, right?
Yeah, yeah. Just like PC gaming company.
PC gaming. Yeah, that makes sense. All right. So anyway, Razer, that one with the neon green all over everything. They're making a phone. We think they're teasing it for November 1st. That's the day before HTC does their thing. And yeah, the teaser shows like a guy like holding a phone up. There's a microphone in my way in front of his face, and it's showing in the background. There's some stuff.
There's some stuff.
There's some pictures or something.
Well,
So
there's some games being played. There's
it
it
just looks
looks like
Tokyo or
Tokyo.
something. Yeah.
Jinx.
All right. So what do you think? You're a gaming dude. Like
I'm a
Razer
gaming
phone?
dude. Oh, dude, if this thing plays Star Wars well, like it's probably gonna be the
It's
greatest
totally
phone
gonna launch
ever.
with like a Snapdragon 820, though. You know that, right? With like a 1080p display.
Right. So we're assuming Nextbit, who joined Razer not too long ago, are the makers of this phone, the designers as well. And they've got some good people working for them. Scott Croyle, I believe his name was. He was on HTC's design team. If you like those old One phones, then you should love this new Razer phone. He has
The Nextbit was a really cool looking phone. So
exactly.
they could make a really cool phone.
They have a really unique take on hardware, and it's pretty thought out. Not that the Robin was the best feeling phone in hand, but it looked dope. And so I'm actually really excited about this. We don't know what specs it's gonna have or anything like that.
420 MLG edition.
Yes.
In the chat, yeah.
I imagine it's going to look sick as hell, though. Like if it's Razer, I expect black. I expect green. I expect that super satanic triple snake thing going on. It's gonna be dope.
I think GSM Arena maybe posted up a supposed prototype picture of it, and the picture was terrible, so I don't really want to like take anything from it. But it had like dual cameras up top or something. It kind of looked like a matte essential phone, but like cheaper made.
Oh, well, that's kind of. I mean, it's probably
Like I
going to
said,
be.
I don't take too much. It was like the picture was terrible, so
Yeah. We'll see. I'm excited for it though. I'm not gonna knock it until I see it and know more about it. That's all there is to it. Because I expect the dudes at Nextbit, and if they had any hand in making this thing, then I have some faith. As long as it doesn't have like cloud app storage and all that crap, it'll be fine.
it's gonna have cloud everything.
Cloud
That's
everything.
exactly what it's gonna have.
Razer
Cloud.
doesn't have that infrastructure, not that I know of, like some
That's true.
huge cloud infrastructure that they would need to make everything like that. Although, we just don't know, right? Maybe you can. It's kind of like Nvidia, maybe where you can play your PC games, do this wireless sync thing through servers, and play your PC games. We just don't know.
Like, do they have the talent to do that? I mean, like Nvidia's been working on that stuff for years. Like Razer doesn't even have a service that plays games, right? Like they just make hardware, right?
Yes. As far as I know, I don't do a lot of PC gaming, so I can't say. Although I did have a Razer keyboard once, so I feel pretty, worthy of speaking on the subject.
I have a Razer.
Well, there you go. Yeah, so we're both qualified
We are
in this area.
I have a mouse too, but it sucks.
Uh,
All right.
Yeah.
Well, we'll be on the lookout for that one. Cannot wait.
I'm super stoked for the Snapdragon 420 MLG edition.
Pretty funny.
Yeah.
when Razer announces stuff, why do I feel like it doesn't come out for like months though? Like, is this going to be a thing they're going to announce it? It'll be like, it'll ship in like April after they change it 6 times.
Right. Well, you feel that way because Razer did have that smartwatch band thing going on, which never came because it was total trash. So
they tried to make 2 of those that never came.
Yes, total trash. They weren't very good at wearable hardware, so that's why I think they basically bought Nextbit, and now they got people who can do hardware. It's easy.
Sweet.
Yeah.
That should be fun. All right.
Brian says, in before Razer makes their own virtual assistant. That's hysterical. I just have to say. Yeah. Thank you for that.
Yeah. Is anyone asking for Razer to become a software company? I don't know if we are.
They have such passionate fans, though. Watch out, man. We're going to get some emails. How dare you talk about Razer like that?
Do they really? See, I didn't know.
Oh, passionate fan base, man. I would hate to be their community manager. They're rabid fans.
That's just like a gamer thing in general, right?
Yes, but they live and die by the Razer.
That's interesting. I really don't know that much about them other than they make gaming products, and I have one of their keyboards right here. So sweet. All right. Well, anything else?
No,
So
I hope
much Pixel 2 talk.
I know that was a lot of Pixel 2 talk. I hope everyone's gonna have a fantastic weekend.
Yeah. Should be a great weekend. Timber's about to clinch the West top seed.
Our female team
Soccer.
won.
The Thorns are champs.
I
It was a
know.
good year for Portland soccer.
Yeah. Looking like a good year for our NBA too. I mean, Trailblazers.
By 50.
I know what's up with that.
Gonna kill the Pacers tonight. Shout out Eric.
Yeah. Where you at, Eric?
Where you at, Eric? All right. Cool. All right. Well, have a great weekend, everyone. Again, V30, well, video review Pixel 2s will be up next week. V30 will be shortly after that. Is there anything else on the horizon that we can talk about? I think those might be the two lined up next.
Yeah, that's about it.
I'll have a Moto X4 soon. We'll talk about that too a little bit here and there. You guys let us know if you actually want us to review the thing.
Yeah. Crazy question. Will you be getting an iPhone 10? Probably not.
I don't think so. It's like $1,000 waste of money for us. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, because we aren't invested in that ecosystem, right? So I had to buy apps for it and all this crap.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, most of them are Google apps, but I don't really have that much interest in it. Like, I remember, what was it? The iPhone 6 that I bought. I think it was
the 6
because that was like the first time like iOS wasn't complete trash. Like it basically copied everything from Android. And then they upgraded some other stuff. We're like, sure, let's take it for a spin. And since then, we haven't felt like we needed to do another one. And I know the iPhone 10 is like the big change. I don't know. I just don't see it. Like, the thing doesn't even have a damn fingerprint reader, which drives me insane.
That is kind of cool. Maybe we'll see. I'm not completely turned off by the idea, just because it would kind of give me something to do.
Little holiday project.
Yeah.
Bertzer wants to know why I'm not hating on the Nokia 9. I have no idea what the Nokia 9 is.
Yeah, we don't talk about Nokia.
No. Just like we don't talk about Sony anymore, Bertzer. You know.
And how we're done talking about BlackBerry. Just like a few things we're just done
announced the phone the other day. Like, I don't even, well, it's not coming here, so
yeah.
You know what we're talking about.
We're just over it, guys. Like, there's bigger things in the Android universe to talk about.
I would say over time we have really narrowed our focus into the stuff that we feel like you guys actually like to talk about. I know that sounds like a really weird approach to anything, but like, we don't spend a lot of time on Sony and Nokia and ZTE and some of these other brands, because like you guys have shown us over the years you don't really care. Like, a handful of you do, but a lot of you don't. So sorry. Shortfall deal community.
Yeah.
All right. Well, cool. Let's wrap it up. DL Show episode 155 today. If you haven't read the Pixel 2 XL review, it is up at the site, so go do that. Otherwise, we're Droid Life.
Peace.
Peace.